mate. But you know what I'm talking about. Talk us through the game. Are you happy? Are you sad? Are you content? And tell everyone who didn't watch that match how it went. And yeah, really, your summer thoughts on Chelsea drawing away to West Ham. A tough ground to go to, man.
Yeah, early kickoff, right? So it was the Saturday 12:30 kickoff. Always a bid of a weird one, really. You can never sort of call those games, even though you think they're going to go a particular way. But I was confident that we would walk away with 3 points, given where West Ham have, and they're not really being the team that they have been in the last couple of. But if football lasted 20 minutes, we were absolutely brilliant. Great link-up play between the £106 million man and Joao Felix. We played very well in that first 20 minutes. We were dominating the game. I mean, I was listening to old JJ on commentary, which is always a pleasure. And, you know, even he was bigging up Chelsea, that they were just dominating, etc. So, great game. But a goal out of nothing from an ex-Chelsea man in Emerson, and it was 1-1. Second half, I'm not sure what Potter had told them, but they just went the other way. It was flat, you know. Chelsea went back to being flat again, and like they have been for the last few months now. You know, it's not really clicking, it's not really gelling. But there was moments where they would come to life, and you think, oh, something's going to happen now. You know, we're going to score a goal. And there were many chances that we missed. Then Souček actually, strangely enough, with a free kick, Rice basically sort of headed it on, and Souček put it in the net, which was called offside, rightly called offside. I know we'll get into VAR in a moment, but honestly, it was clearer than the Arsenal offside, and they still spent 3 minutes looking at that. Like, what the hell's going on there? Anyway, they got the decision right, which I suppose is what it's there to do. And then Conor Gallagher comes on, and he has a shot at goal. It's on target. I'm not saying it would have been a goal, but basically Souček on the other end redeems himself, I guess, in a way, and basically made Manuel Neuer look like an amateur, because that was an absolutely brilliant save by him. He fell to the ground, put his hand out as he fell. Obviously, he put his hand out to break his fall. I guess that's what a lot of people are saying. And yeah, there you go. Perfect. A picture of what I was explaining, and saves the ball. And the ball basically veers, you know, off for a I can't even remember what it was. I was incensed at the time. Did it go for a goal kick or a corner? I don't even know what it was.
It rolled into the keeper's hands pretty much.
Right. Yeah, there you go. So the keeper managed to get his hands on it and smother it. Yeah. But it, you know, the point which sort of annoyed me and I think it sort of united the football community for a few moments, even if it was Chelsea, was that it was unanimous, that everyone was saying it was a penalty. Why ain't, you know, they given the penalty? And I think what frustrates me, and I'm sure Sage will agree with this, they spend so long looking at these things, and then the obvious ones, they're just like, oh no, that's all right, mate, move on from that one. And it's like, you've just spent a year looking at somebody's toenail being offside, which was obvious for all of us to see. And then these massive decisions, you don't even let the referee look at the monitor to sort of have a decision. And it was the 89th minute of the game, right? It was quite late, you know, had the penalty been given, and obviously you've got to score it, we would have gone on to win the game, which I think in Arsenal's case, that incident happened a lot earlier in the game, right? There was still some 20 minutes to go, you know, they had to play. But anyway, that being said, I don't think Chelsea did enough actually to win the game. I think in the end, it was almost like, it was a fair result, and if Chelsea had won it, it would have been they just about did enough. So I think that probably sums up the game a little bit. Great first 20 minutes. The boys, you know, Joao Felix and Mudryk, although he came off quite early in the game. Fernandes seemed to be doing quite well. There seems to be some sort of pattern developing there. I'm just hoping to see what that looks like in about 3 or 4 games' time. But I think the performance was one thing. What I was quite surprised about was Potter's interviews at the end. I mean, he should have been like Arteta, you know, fuming fuming that wasn't given. I think Arteta was actually calm, normal. He should have been fuming, right? It should have been the Mourinho, I don't want to speak, right? If I speak, I get in trouble. It should have been that type of thing. And he was like, well, these things just don't go our way. And yeah, okay, tough luck. And you're kind of thinking, well, is that the mentality with the players? It's kind of like, well, we lost. Okay, lads, don't worry about it. We'll try again next week. So, yeah, nice bit of play, some sparks, but not flash enough at the moment. I think that sums it up.
Fair enough, VJ. Just quickly before we open up Chelsea to the panel and anyone else who watched it, who was your strongest and weakest player on the day, mate? Who was the weakest link and who was the player that shone?
For me, I think strongest was probably, you could probably toss up between sort of Felix and Fernandes, Enzo Fernandez. I think the two of them could have been. I think Enzo did actually get man of the match, so I think that probably sort of maybe slightly goes in his favour. I think Cucurella was the weakest. He seems to run around a lot, and I don't know if it's his hair or what. It just looks like he's running all over the place, and trying to pick up everything. And when Ben Chilwell came on, it just seemed more calm and more assured. Cucurella sort of gave the ball away a couple of times. Okay, it didn't come to too much. But yeah, for me, he was weakest link. Yeah.
Fair enough. Lads, any questions on the game? Anyone saw it? Do you think the result reflected the performance? Were Chelsea unlucky? I take it with that VAR, most of you guys agree it was a pen.
Yeah, definitely. I just had a couple of questions for VJ. Looking at Enzo, the games he had, and the game against West Ham, most passes, recoveries, tackles, assists. You know what? He might be a bargain in the future, the 105 or 110 million they pay, because he looks the real deal, doesn't he? 2 games in. Yeah. Normally players take time to settle in, but he just hit it off straight from the get-go, hasn't he?
Yeah, I agree. Actually, because when we signed him, when on deadline day, and the first message that I got from a matey was, "Oh, you better live up to his price tag. He's going to get scrutinised." And I was like, "Bloody hell, give him a chance. He's not even played yet." But you're right, Sultan. I mean, 2 games in, he's actually done quite well. I'm quite excited at that. And someone actually said it. That he probably should be 210 million. I mean, obviously that was sarcastic, right? But that kind of shows that he is delivering at this very, very, very early stage.
Definitely. With Mudryk, I think it will take we had that 20-minute cameo against Liverpool, obviously. He ripped us to shreds. I think it will take a bit longer. But if the owners, or if Bowley and his team give Potter the chance, I think he needs a pre-season. I think his personality is quite a calm character. If they give him the pre-season, a bit more investment, buy a striker, probably another midfielder, I think Chelsea are going to be major players. If not next season, definitely the season after, because that investment will pay off. It has to, right?
Yeah. Yep, totally agree. Yeah, like I said, I think with West Ham, I saw some good things happening. It wasn't the same old Chelsea. But we've got to build that up. It's got to be for more than 20 minutes, right? Got to be 70 minutes.
I think with the new attackers you've got on the wings and with Fernandes, Aubameyang, I know obviously whatever's going on with him, I think you're crying out for someone like him to just finish them off. Havertz, he's kind of hot and cold, but Aubameyang, he's got the finishing touch potentially. So, but whatever's going on there, who knows, right?
Yeah, it looks like he's on his way. Somewhere in the US, not 100% sure. There seems to be a few different reports. So he's certainly not in favour. He's not even in the Champions League squad, right? He was dropped, so he won't be playing anytime soon. But you're right. We need a big man up front that can convert those chances. Havertz totally, when he's on it, he looks brilliant. And he just looks like he's just flipped it, and it's just like amazing goal. And then sometimes you're just like, come on, mate, you could try a little bit harder. He's not the guy to lead us long term.
Jay, you got any questions there, mate?
Yeah, I was just going to say, I thought, Graham Potter's on borrowed time after that game because, as you said, that post-match interview wasn't great. And, just because you're a nice person but rubbish at your job doesn't mean I'll keep you. Do you see what I mean? Like, you've got somebody who's a £105 million player. You've got Felix up front. I wouldn't have played Havertz and Felix. They're both false number 9s for me. So technically, you should still have something where maybe Felix would have played where Havertz was, and I would have put Mount there or somebody else who could have played in that position. I also thought that, when you look at the left back in Kukurea, if you look at his stats, Brighton, right, he had 2 really good games. He had one against Arsenal, he had one against Liverpool, and that's the reason that they actually bought him, for that stupid amount of money.
Yeah.
The fact is, his sort of heat map was insane, because he was just running around everywhere there as well. But it felt like there was more end product. And I think sometimes he could just be taken out of the limelight for a bit and give Chilwell that chance to, sort of cement the position. But there isn't a huge amount wrong with Chelsea, because even if you look at the table just now with Josh Had, you've stopped losing. That's always a good start. And then, from there comes the draws, and then it comes the wins. So it's in the right direction, but I just don't think Potter's a big enough personality to sort of outlast too many bad results in a row. Not with that sort of spend. That scrutinized spend will destroy. And 100%, that's a penalty. I mean, the VAR stuff this weekend has actually made it like, do we actually even need VAR? Because anybody from the stands could have seen those 2 decisions, right? And that's the problem here. But we'll get into the VAR with Sage. I'm sure he's calmed down.
Yeah.
Sage, did you see the handball, mate?
Yeah, I witnessed the handball. It was poor decision. I don't understand what the referee's sitting like. I don't know what the linesman's not seeing there. VAR. There's so many people there that can clearly see that. Come on, that is so bad. And Chelsea had a really good game as well. To be fair to them, I don't really want to say that as well because it's Chelsea, and Enzo Fernandez is looking like a gem. Felix is linking up with him as well. And just to back up G's point as well, I'm going to say about Cucurella. Cucurella is a hard-working left back, but a lot of Chelsea fans I've noticed that are in social media have been complaining that he plays the ball sideways and backwards a lot, which is killing Mudrik's game. And you can visibly see Mudrik's kind of getting annoyed on the pitch. Even when I was watching the highlights again, I was thinking his body language they're not compatible right now. So if Chelsea work on them little kinks there, I think Chelsea are back very soon. But Potter's attitude needs to change as well, because you clearly see that's a handball, blatantly as day. Arteta's going crazy. Ten Hag's going a little bit crazy. Conte is definitely going crazy. Like, most managers are going to say something, but he was just completely yeah, it happens. Let's just get on with it.
Exactly.
And something needs to be addressed about VAR, but we'll get into that more later because
BJ, is there a thinking that this man lacks a bit of passion? The draws, the lack of sort of running around on the pitch, maybe yelling at people, the post-match interviews being a bit bland. Do you think is he the man to rev them up and get them going? Or do you think that a bit like Arteta, I know Arteta he's calmed down a bit recently, but obviously being a young manager, having sort of come up the ranks, do you think he's almost trying to just not piss anyone off too much? And he's been told, you've got the season, mate, whatever happens. And he's just Mr. Calm. He's trying to keep everyone relaxed. I mean, where do you see it? Is it passionless, or is that just his personality? He's just really calm and a bit bland, if you know what I mean, the way he is.
Yeah, I think the boys are right in terms of it. There is a little bit of his personality there, but I can't help but think that he's been given some reassurances. A lot of the football fraternity are sort of saying, he's a great manager. He sort of worked his way up. He's a young English manager. And he'll do well. It's great that Chelsea have given him the job, and he can build on from there. And I think if we were to get rid of him, the first headlines would be didn't give enough time. He was the right manager to build the talent, etc. So I think we'll definitely need to do that. But I almost sort of think like, he's got a bit of a free pass this season, right? I'm going to get this season. I've got a load of players that have come in. They see that they've got a project in mind. They've seen me as the guy to sort of build this and create this project and bring it to some sort of success. I just think that that's what it is. But what I saw with him on Saturday morning when he was questioned about the penalty, and I was like, you should be going crazy. You should be, that could be the difference in you losing your job or not at the end of the day, right? And I sort of look at a Klopp, and a Klopp would have been absolutely raging. He probably still would have been annoyed right now. And I would like to see that a little bit from Potter, because you would like to think that that's what's going on in the dressing room as well, that, he's pulling a couple of players up and saying, blah, blah, blah. But if he's going to the players and, and sort of saying, well, all right, great header, mate, but, don't worry about it. Try again next time. You're kind of thinking that that's why things are a little bit flat. But I don't know. Like I said, I think, to answer your question, I think he thinks he's got a free pass till the end of the season. That's how it comes across.
Cool. Lads, conscious of time to move on to the Arsenal game. We've got a lot to discuss. Just quickly going around the room from Sultan, VJG, and Ranta Sage. In literally a word, say, Sultan, are Chelsea going to make top 4? Yes or no this season, mate? No. Cool. Just nodded his head, mate. Not even worth the reply.
Oh, sorry, I was on mute. No,
save your breath.
No, because of the other teams competing for those places, it'll be tough, right?
So no, wow, I'm surprised, lads, because looking at the table, there's not a lot in it. But I mean, VJ, what do you think, mate?
No, I don't think so. I think top 6, as I said last week, I think top 6 is the goal now. I think if we get top 4, a bit of a miracle.
Fair enough. For a Spurs fan, mate, I thought you'd be a little bit more looking at Tottenham and the shambles at the back at Spurs. We've got major injuries issue to 2 key players. I think Chelsea can make 4th, to be honest. At Tottenham's expense. Gorav, what do you reckon, mate?
No, I don't think they'll make it this season. I think the whole free pass mentality is what's going to cost them.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. The whole experimental kind of get it right, and next season we'll go hard. You might even be out of Europe, V, so you might have a whole season like Arsenal just to get it right in the Premier League.